In a world of challenges and uncertainties, hope shines as a beacon, guiding us through the dark times and showing us the way to brighter days ahead. But what exactly is hope? Where does it come from? And how does it shape our lives? I'm Annie Bennett, and I'd love you to join me on this journey as I explore the meaning of hope. I'll delve into philosophical perspectives, personal stories, and scientific insights to understand the power of this elusive emotion. So whether you're seeking inspiration, comfort, or simply a deeper understanding of the human spirit, let's embark on this exploration together and discover the extraordinary power of hope. Hello and welcome to the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. Now, today's guest, I've known for actually quite a few years, but in lots of sort of different ways. You'll find out what I mean by that as we go along, because I'm sure we'll talk about most of it. But I have with me today Nikki Fricker, who is a grief coach and life coach. And I know that she came to be all of those things because of the various experiences she's had, in the last perhaps 5 years or so. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome her here today. So welcome, Nikki. It's lovely to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Annie. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
You're very, very welcome. Yes, because we've known each other quite a time. We sort of knew each other in a different life, really, didn't we?
Yes, we did. How long ago was that now? Probably coming up to 20
20,
years.
20 years, yes, when I was deputy head and you
Yes, and
worked
I
for
was
schools.
PA.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
We did singing and music together, didn't we? Do you
we
remember?
did do singing and music together. We did some lovely singing assemblies.
Oh, we had fun doing those.
Yeah, yeah, singing assemblies. And I
Yeah.
still remember the panto that we
Oh,
did
no, you
as
don't.
well. Um,
And then
yeah,
recently we've sort of got ourselves reacquainted through the theatre.
do the
We're,
theatre again. Yeah,
yeah, we're both
yeah.
members of the Eastbourne theatricals. And yeah, we met up again. It was like, oh my goodness, how are
Yeah,
you? So, and of
absolutely.
course, since me knowing you first time and getting reacquainted with you, lots of things have happened to you, haven't they?
Yes, lots of things. Yeah, the last 20 years.
Would you like to tell us, your story and what's been going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, probably for the last 20 years, I worked in performing arts. So I taught dance, I taught singing, I worked like 7 days a week. Um, and that all changed last year, just over a year ago, really, when I left the performing arts industry and retrained as a grief coach and life coach. And that was really down to probably what has happened over the last 10 years.
And
So, 10 years ago, 2015, I lost my dad. It was quite a sudden, he had a heart attack, um, and then sort of died a couple of days later from a second heart attack. Um, and that really was the start of me questioning what I wanted to do. Um, at the time, I was working at White Rock Theatre in Hastings. Quite a full-on job, community and business development there. Um, Loved it, but also thought there was something else, and I was missing teaching that I had been doing. So that was kind of the first flip where I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure what I want to be doing. And then I was fortunate enough to be offered a job working for a theatre company, theatre school over in Brighton. And I spent 7 years there. That was the last job I had prior to my change of career. Um, but during that time, I had a child. Um, and COVID happened. But I also, the most significant probably is the fact that in 2021, we then lost my brother. He got diagnosed at the end of 2020 with bowel cancer. It had spread to his brain. He had quite a big brain tumor. And he then died in the following March. So it was quite
Yeah.
um, a swift journey, really, for him. Quite a horrible battle.
Mm.
Um, I was fortunate enough to be allowed to have a bit of a sabbatical during that time.
Mm.
And it really made me reflect
Yeah.
on
Mm.
what I wanted to do, um, and also who I wanted to spend my time with.
Yeah.
So I was working Monday to Saturday, kind of looking after my little boy as well as work. And then it got to my little boy being old enough to go to school. And I was like, do I really want to spend half my weekend not with him and not spending time with him? Um, because I kind of knew how important it was to spend time with family.
Yeah.
My brother has three beautiful children. The youngest was 5 when he passed away.
Oh, goodness.
Um, so it kind of made me reflect on, I want to also be there for them, but they live away.
Yeah.
Um, so they live about 2.5 hours away from us. Um, and so, yeah, it really made me think a lot
Mm.
about what I wanted my life to be in the years ahead.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, after kind of about a year of not being particularly happy at work, because
Mm.
also as part of that, when I had Felix returning to work after maternity,
Mm.
not quite going back to the job that you left because you can't quite commit as much.
Yeah. Mm.
You kind of feel like you end up losing a bit more of yourself each
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
So yeah, I just had fallen out of love with the job, and I'd fallen out of love really with theatre in general.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, when we re-met last year, that was the first kind of show that I'd done for a little while and
Really?
that I'd properly loved as
Yeah.
well. Like I'd done a couple where I was like, felt a little bit like I was going through the motions.
Yeah. 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 It
Um,
was a good show, though, wasn't it? Wow.
but yeah, I mean that show, like
Yeah.
it did buoy me up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so then, and I think as well, I'd released that kind of weight that was on my shoulders. I wasn't happy at work, so I'd done something about it, and I'd just handed my notice in, with nothing to go to.
Yeah.
Um,
Excellent. I love that.
I mean, I was fortunate in that obviously, like I'm married and have a little boy, and we can um, still manage without me having to work. But it was a scary thing.
Yeah. 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 But say
Yeah,
sometimes that's what you need to do. You need to sort of take a step over the precipice and go, okay, let's just see what happens, and let's
yeah.
really.
I think that's it. If you're not happy,
Mm.
uh, then you need to do something about it.
Mm.
And I just had to be, some people aren't fortunate enough to be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I was. And what I had realized over the last 10 years that some people aren't also fortunate enough to be able to live as far as I have lived.
Yeah.
Uh, like
Mm.
this birthday um, was the birthday I became older than my older brother
Oh,
because
yeah.
he was a year younger than I am now when he passed away. And so I think about that and I'm like, I should be living my life because they didn't have the chance to. So I almost feel like I'm living my life not just for myself, but for them as well.
Well, oh yeah, I love that.
So
Yeah. So at what point did you get into, the grief coach? What point did you think, actually, this is where I want to be? This is me.
yeah. So coaching itself and kind of the wellness industry has been kind of part of my life for a little while.
Mm.
I'd always been fascinated with it. When I was furloughed during COVID, I did like a psychology online course
Yeah.
and stuff. And all has always fascinated me. And if I hadn't have gone into performing arts, it was something I would have gone
Mm.
into doing before.
Yeah.
Um, and as part of my job, I was mentoring and coaching kids that were coming through. And it wasn't just to do with their immediate lessons that I was being a part of, but it was also to do with their trials and tribulations from life and
Yeah.
how to how to deal with various things that happened to them as growing adults. I mean, I dealt with kids from 4 to 24. So those sort of our students from about 16 to 24, that bracket, I was naturally
Mm.
kind of coaching them and advising them and listening to them and letting them kind of try and work their paths out. And so I was really interested in that. And I knew that when I left my previous job, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in and I wanted to help people. And I think as well, I'd spent a year on myself, like feeling really empowered
Mm.
that in spite of, or not really in spite of my grief, but because of
Mm.
the bereavement I'd gone through over the last 10 years, I was actually stronger now than I had ever been.
Mm.
And I think making that realization made me go, I want other people to feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in my 40s. So many women in their 40s go, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was a new mum. And so many mums feel like they've completely lost themselves. And so, whilst um, grief coaching kind of just it drew me because of that, it drew me because of my experience. But
Mm.
also, the more I learned about it and the more I learned about loss and how loss can be anything, it doesn't have to be the loss of a person. You can grieve a future that you didn't know you
Yeah.
were gonna like that you thought you had, but you now don't, or you can grieve the loss of a job or yeah, anything. And when I flipped it that way, it felt so like it just sung to me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just felt so aligned with how I was feeling. And I felt like I could make a difference to people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why it kind of I went down that route.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? Because you know, grief, grief does give you resources, doesn't it? You go through grief, you end up with a sort of it's like a video game, isn't it? Where you collect the sword and you collect the
Yeah,
shield.
yeah. Feel
Um,
like you've got this backpack, but
yeah.
it's not, you know how they talk about a backpack weighing you down?
Mm.
Um, yeah, I feel like it doesn't necessarily weigh me down.
Oh,
It just gives me loads of tools. Like
yeah.
I feel like I'm sometimes like, a Boy Scout.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone on a camping trip, but I've got everything. I am well
Everything.
and truly prepared. Um, because
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like anything anyone brings at me, I'm like, I feel like I can take it now because I feel like what I've have taken over the last kind of few years, I feel
Yeah.
like they've been quite hard.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're going
Yeah.
to throw something else at me, I've probably got something in my wheelhouse to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's resilience, isn't it? It really does. Going through a trauma or, something really challenging, it does give you resilience because you think, wow, if I can get through that, you know,
Yeah,
anything's
absolutely.
possible.
And I mean, I think I've been lucky in that I feel like I've always been quite resilient. I think I've had that shown to me by my parents. Like my mum is the strongest woman I know.
Mm.
Um, and my dad he was just so like just open to anything. He
Mm.
just let life like come to him and he'd roll with it rather than stress and worry. And there never seemed to be that. I mean, he might have, but it never came
Never showed
across.
you, yeah. Yeah.
And so I think I've been fortunate enough in that that's how I've always approached life. And sometimes to my detriment, sometimes um, it can be, yeah, sometimes it can be to my detriment in that I feel like I'm sometimes a bit too strong and don't always let my emotions come to the surface. But that I definitely, whilst I was training to be a grief coach, that definitely helped. And
Coping
I,
mechanism, though, isn't it? It's knowing what you can let out and what you feel comfortable with
yeah,
sharing and letting out, isn't it?
yeah.
It's,
And I
mm,
think I've become much more comfortable in sharing and not apologizing for getting upset,
yes.
um, which I
Yeah.
always used to.
Yeah.
I'd
I
always
was,
apologize if I cried.
I was talking to someone else, I think it was on someone, another podcast guest, about how, you see people perhaps on the television or something, and they're, in a reality show or whatever, or on the news, and they're crying and they say, "Oh, sorry, sorry." And you want to say, "Don't say sorry, just let
Just
it
let
happen."
it out. And we all do it. It's like it's a natural, it's almost like a natural response. You can't help but go, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I catch myself and I'm like, no, actually, I'm not
I'm
sorry. I'm
not
not
sorry.
sorry.
No, no, no.
No,
It's
you're just going to have to deal with the ugly crying. It's fine.
sort of it's sort of a protection of the person you're with because you don't want them to feel uncomfortable. But actually, it's you at that point, you are the most important person, and it doesn't matter how everyone else feels really, because
Yeah,
you've got
that's
to.
absolutely it. I mean, I know like me and my mum have this conversation quite often in that we sometimes don't talk too much about stuff because we don't want to upset the other person and then we both end up crying and we're like no we should need to embrace it, we need to embrace it rather than shy away from it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
gone through a
that,
lot, we just
yeah,
need to, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And this podcast is all about hope. So I'm interested to know the part that hope played all the way through. I mean, you must have, or did you lose hope when your dad died? Or was it?
um I think yeah, I think I did for a bit.
Yeah.
But it I think because I lost a bit of myself,
Mm,
and that bit of myself that did hope for better and did hope that um, my future would be a certain way, I
mm,
did lose that. And it did take a while to kind of rebuild, but it's in a completely different way. Like,
yeah.
I'm not the person I was when my dad passed away, and I'm not the person I would have been if he was still alive.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Either, because I don't think I could be.
Mm,
Um, and so, yeah, I do think I lost a bit, but I was also, um, I threw myself into things after my dad died.
mm,
So I was meant to be producing a show, and I was like, no, I'm still going to do it. We're still going ahead. And I
yeah.
did it, and I raised money for British Heart Foundation in memory of my dad. And so I did those sort of things. And once I'd come off of that wheel, and also I'd got engaged the year that dad passed away.
Oh,
So we
right.
got engaged in the January. My dad passed away in the June. So on top of that, I was also then in the wheel of planning a wedding because we're getting married
Oh,
the next
my
year.
word.
We'd already, so dad knew the venue, he knew the date, he knew like it was all planned before he passed away. So I was like, right, we've now gone into that. So I went from the wheel of losing my dad straight into producing a show, straight into organizing a wedding. And after the wedding, I was like, oh, I'll breathe a bit. And I think then I started to go, okay, if I've managed to do those things whilst feeling really hopeless,
Yeah.
like, and organizing a wedding when you know your dad's not going to walk you down the aisle is
Yeah. Oh,
horrible. Um, and I thought, actually, if I've managed to do all of that, I think my dad's pushing me on.
yeah.
And I think that's where I found my hope from, that
Yeah.
actually my dad was still with me. regardless. And um and that has become more prominent the older I've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and hope now comes to me in very different ways than I ever thought it would when I was younger.
Interesting.
Like I'm much more spiritual now. Whereas I was I questioned a lot when I
Yeah.
was little about all of that sort of stuff. But I've been to mediums now. I do my oracle cards daily.
Oh.
Um,
Ooh, you're woo, Nikki.
yeah, I've gone a bit woo-woo in my own age.
Yeah.
Um, but
Wow.
that that is kind of where I get my hope from as well.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just I think the other thing is so when my brother, sorry, was diagnosed,
Mm.
he my brother was like fiercely creative in a completely different way to how I was.
Yeah.
I'm very theatrical, singing, dancing, get me on stage, that's lovely.
Yeah.
My brother would absolutely hate any part of that. Um, but he was a head of ICT. His creativity for creating lessons um, that got kids involved and got kids excited about what he was teaching
Yeah.
was just phenomenal. Um, and he was writing a book. He started writing a book when my dad passed away.
Mm.
And he got diagnosed and he was like, I want to, like, he'd always wanted his book published.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to do it. And so he finished that book and got it published. He drew these amazing pictures from his hospital bed.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and just watching that as well. And I was like, if he can do that
Yeah.
whilst being at his worst, and
Yeah.
he was like it, I mean, he was signing copies of his book like up to days before he passed away.
Mm.
And I was like, do you know what? If he can do that, I think I've got a bit of hope left in me that I
Yeah.
can not continue what he's done, but I can do something that I know will make him proud and will make dad proud and will make the rest of the family proud as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think hope can be found
Yeah.
um, in the strangest of places sometimes.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, two different bereavements, obviously very similar, but in sort of different in their
Yeah.
own way. Because obviously, your brother was taken far too soon, you know.
Mm.
So, but you must have, had lessons from your dad's death that made you more resilient, when your brother was diagnosed. I mean,
Yeah, I think it definitely did. And I mean, there's a little bit of a difference when um when you've then got the diagnosis to deal with
yeah,
and the very rapid, I mean, it was a very quick like depletion really
yeah.
of him and watching that um that was very different to dad. Dad was very sudden.
Mm,
Um and so I can remember dad as kind of the life and soul.
yeah,
It's a little bit harder with Chris because I also saw him
right. Yeah,
at his worst.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it kind of what I learned from losing dad to then it did definitely help. And I mean, in between that, I also lost my granddad
oh goodness.
and suffered a miscarriage.
Yeah,
Uh,
oh
and then
goodness.
just after Chris,
Mm.
the best man of our wedding passed away. So it's been
Oh my.
quite traumatic.
Mm,
And I think, but you do learn with each of those steps. You go, actually, yes, this is horrific and this is awful, but I also know this awful feeling will start to dissipate slightly.
yeah,
And whilst there will still be days when I'll wake up and feel like a crushing pain in my chest,
Yeah.
those days will become less and I'll be able to live with the joy that I remember.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Because it would
yeah,
be so easy, and I don't know if you felt this at all, but with all these things happening, just to say, why me? Why is it all happening to me? Um, but then, I remember seeing when I was first diagnosed a poster on the wall in the cancer unit as a Macmillan support, and the headline was sort of "Why me?" And I just sort of stood there and thought, well, I haven't actually thought that. I thought, why not me? You know,
yeah,
the world isn't
it
out.
could be anyone. I know. I think I remember having a conversation with a friend, and I think it was just when Chris had got diagnosed, maybe. Um, and I was talking about the diagnosis, and I was just saying, well, I mean, these things happen. That's kind of my common response is these things happen. And they were like, yeah, but you also lost your dad. I said, yeah, but people lose their parents.
Yeah,
Like, this isn't like a thing that's only ever happened to me.
yeah, yeah,
People lose parents. Yes, I didn't want to lose him I was 33, so he
yeah,
was 61 when he passed away. Yes, I wasn't expecting to lose him that soon, but I knew at some point I was going like at some point you think you do realize that you're probably going to have to say goodbye to a parent.
yeah.
And I was like, so many people have had it worse.
Mm,
And that's all I would say. And they're like, you just and this friend just said to me, like, just appreciate how hard you have had it
yeah,
and stop comparing to other people.
mm, yeah,
I'd
yeah,
go, oh, but other people have had it worse. I'm fine.
yeah. But that's true, isn't it? You can do the compare thing, but actually take a moment for yourself and appreciate, what
Yeah,
you've been through and what you've had
yeah,
to cope with, and give yourself, praise for that, because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Um, it's not easy, is it? It's not
No,
easy.
it's not easy. It's not easy. But
Mm.
then life would be boring if it was easy.
Indeed, it
I
would.
think.
So what's next? I know you've got your coaching. Tell us about your coaching.
Yeah, so I've just set up, well, I say just, I've had coaching kind of business. So my business is New Future Life Coaching. I kind of set it up around Christmas time.
Mhm.
It's been a very slow burner, mainly because that's how I wanted it to be. I wanted to take my time. I wanted to kind of just be getting my message out and my story out and just showing that you can have gone through a lot, but there are still reasons to keep going.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I take one-to-one clients now. Um, and I do that. I'm looking at releasing a coaching program, hopefully later on in the year. And I'm also now looking at starting a podcast that I want to start this
Oh,
year.
come on. Oh,
Well,
come
yeah,
on.
do come on. So I want to do a It's going to be a grief podcast,
Mm.
but more about empowering life
Um,
after loss and
yeah.
how loss can empower you to move forwards. Um, Obviously, we will be dwelling on grief and all of those sorts of loss that can come from that, but I want it to be kind of quite an uplifting
Uplifting. Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of podcast. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Ah,
yeah, that's in the pipeline as well.
excellent. Well, I'll get you to put all the, yeah, I'll get you to give me all your details, and I'll put them in the show notes so
Okay, yeah, I see.
I can find you.
Yeah.
And then finally, because I can't believe we've come to the end of our time now,
Oh
it's
my
fabulous.
goodness.
I would love you to give my listeners a message of hope. I ask all my guests this. What would be your message of hope for my listeners?
Okay. So I think my message of hope would be that hope isn't absent of pain.
Hmm.
Um, it's more a belief that even when we feel like we're at our worst,
Mm,
light can still be found. And I definitely think that that has been the way hope has shown up for me. I always thought hope was like this big glimmer that was sometimes out of reach. But even something that you feel like you can't experience, there's no possible way I could experience hope having just lost my dad, or no way I could possibly experience hope if I've just lost my brother. But actually, you can still experience that, and the hope is still there, and there are still ways in which we can move forward. We might not have any control over when our time is up.
Mm.
But we do have control over how we live it. And I think that's my message of hope. Live life to the full.
Fantastic. I love that. There's, no hope without pain. It comes together, doesn't it? It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Oh, Nikki, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Annie. It's been joyous.
It's been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All the best for your coaching. I'm sure you'll absolutely be amazing. And as I just said, we'll make sure that there's, links and things in your show notes. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you and find out more,
that would be lovely. Yeah,
then
absolutely.
they can do that. So Nikki Fricker, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Annie. It's been lovely.
Thank you for listening to the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. I hope you found inspiration, comfort, or perhaps even a newfound perspective around the meaning of hope. To find out more about the aims of the Chronicles of Hope organisation, please visit thechroniclesofhope.org, where you will find links to our social media accounts and where you will be able to make a much needed and appreciated donation. Thank you.